It's a beautiful late September afternoon here in Chicago, and we're at venerable Wrigley Field. The place will be jam-packed today. One of the great rivalries in all of sports on Fox Saturday Baseball. The St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs, a couple of playoff hopefuls. And as we update the standings with just over 2 weeks to play, the Cardinals have the best record in all of baseball. They seem poised to win a division. The Cubs right now occupy the second wild card spot in the National League, and some fireworks yesterday as the Cubs beat the Cardinals 8-3, but that was not the storyline. Dan Herron on an 86-mile-an-hour fastball hit pinch hitter Matt Holliday in the helmet. Warnings were issued. Matt Belisle clips Anthony Rizzo a little later. He gets ejected along with his manager Mike Matheny. After the ballgame, Cubs manager Joe Maddon took severe umbrage.
And what the Cardinals did right there, absolutely. We did not hit their guy on purpose at all. That was an absolute mistake. There's no malicious intent whatsoever on Dan Herron's part, none. So to become this vigilante group that all of a sudden wants to get their own pound of flesh, that's absolutely insane and ridiculous and wrong. I mean, and furthermore, we don't start stuff, but we will stop stuff.
I get it that it's a hot topic of conversation, but for us, we just realize the fact that almost every day we have somebody saying something about us, and that's just part of the business. And we just got to stick to what we do, take care of what we got to do, and go play the game.
And welcome to the booth. Alongside Eric Karros, I'm Len Casper. It's getting intense here at Wrigley Field. So explain what we just heard and what might have happened today.
Well, I think this becomes as important a game as these two teams have played against one another all year long. Not so much for the standings, but what it represents. The Cubs, since 2010, have finished fifth in the division every year. The Cardinals, for the last 5 years, they've gone to the playoffs. The Cardinals have what the Cubs want. Nobody's going to give the division to the Cubs. Nobody's going to give the Cubs respect. They have to go out, earn it, take it. The Cardinals, they are the class of the division. They've earned it. I think what happened yesterday, the Cubs, they're trying to send a message. That's why today, the Cardinals, they need to come out, say, this is still ours. You got to still go through St. Louis. The Cubs, hey, we're just as good as anybody.
It'll be all-star right-hander Michael Wacha for the Cardinals. The Cubs have a bullpen day after a doubleheader on Tuesday. This rivalry dates back to 1892. Cardinals and Cubs, Fox Saturday Baseball from Chicago. 64 degrees. It has cooled off just a little bit. Wind blowing in out of the north-northwest. Should help the pitchers today. Now the Cardinals batting order, back Carpenter in the leadoff spot. Tommy Pham has been red hot as of late. Hayward, Peralta, Molina, the veteran guys in the middle. Stephen Piscotty in left. Colton Wong at second. Mark Reynolds gets the start at first with the pitcher Michael Wacha batting ninth. And it's a left-hander out of the bullpen, Travis Wood. We're not quite sure how deep into this game he will go. And he is ready to work. Wood to Carpenter, and he sends one into center. That's Austin Jackson. One pitch and one out. You hear about super utility players, Eric Karros. Travis Wood called a super utility pitcher by his manager.
Yeah, great athlete. That's what really surprised me, but has come out of the pen. He started at the beginning of the year and really is asked to take the ball today, give him anywhere from 45 to 60 pitches, but he can really stymie this Cardinal offense.
Strike called on Tommy Pham. Red hot as of late. Mike Matheny is riding that hot hand. They've got some issues out there in center field to sort out before the postseason begins. And we should note off the top, the Cardinal magic number just to clinch a playoff spot is 1. So if they win this game today, they're in. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Ken Rosenthal is with us, and an update on all that stuff we talked about in the open.
Glenn, I spoke with crew chief Tom Hallian before the game. He said that no pregame warnings were issued, and the reason is they don't want to dictate what takes place on the field. If something does happen, then the umpires will react.
Thank you, Ken. That sounds about right. Bruce Dreckman, Alfonso Marquez, Tom Hallian, Dan Bellino. And here is Jason Hayward. So, Eric, Travis Wood, a 2-inning save 2 days ago. He starts the ball game today. With September rosters, we could see 8 or 9 Cubs pitchers today.
Yeah, that's what Joe Madden indicated, but you just don't know what Travis Wood is going to give you. I mean, so far, 5 pitches, 5 strikes there. We said it right there, though. There's the ball. But again, just setting the tone.
Jason Hayward, his first in what could be his only season as a Cardinal, came over from the Braves over the winter. And he bounces one to first. Anthony Rizzo will take it unassisted. A 7-pitch, 1-2-3 first inning for Travis Wood. The Cubs are coming up when we return to Chicago. against a right-hander, but not today. And we'll talk about Joe Madden and how he views the baseball world a little later. Austin Jackson, Jorge Soler, Chris Bryant, righties at the top. Anthony Rizzo, an MVP candidate in the cleanup spot. Starlin Castro took the curtain call yesterday after 2 home runs. Javier Baez at short for Addison Russell. It'll be Chris Denorfia in left. David Ross the catcher, and the pitcher hitting ninth, which has also been a rare occurrence for the Cubs. And here's 24-year-old all-star right-hander Michael Wacha looking for his 17th win. And ball 1 on Austin Jackson.
Oh, Michael Wacha, he's had a couple suspect starts, but those were always after long periods of rest. Back in his regular day's rotation, and threw the ball well his last start.
1-1. Jackson acquired on the final day of August from Seattle. He's played a lot of right, but is in center field, his natural position. Slicing liner, Jason Hayward. Nice running grab. He's one of the premier right fielders with the glove.
Well, that's one of his greatest assets, is his defense. He does a lot of things on the base paths, plays a great right field, and I think when he's on your team, you appreciate him even more.
Let's check out the rest of the Cardinals defensively. One of the best behind the plate is Yadier Molina. Third to first, Carpenter, Peralta, Wong, and Reynolds. Piscotty, Pham, and Hayward in the outfield. And ball 1 on Jorge Soler. 23-year-old from Cuba. And when healthy, he had been the most frequently used right fielder before his latest DL trip. Sprained ankle, strained oblique. And he's got 2 weeks to show Joe Madden that he deserves to be on the playoff roster.
Yeah, big part of the future, but don't know if that future is going to begin in October. Got a lot of options in that outfield. Joe Madden's going to have quite a few decisions he's going to have to make, obviously, with the front office when he puts together that postseason roster.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and one of the reasons he's got all these righties in there, the Michael Wacha changeup, trying to neutralize that a little bit. From Texarkana, Texas, big swing by Soler. 2-2. Hard to believe that Michael Wacha, a 2-time All-Stater in high school, was not drafted out of high school before he went to Texas A&M and eventually became a first-round pick. 3-2.
Well, and sometimes you talk about that guy's not getting drafted out of high school. Their signability. You know, look at, I'm going to school, and clubs will pass. Doesn't mean that he wasn't ready. Just wasn't signable.
Ball 4, and Soler is on. Let's check out today's Keys to the Game, sponsored by Ford.
Well, St. Louis needs to take care of business, not get caught up in all the verbiage that's going on. They win today, as you mentioned earlier. They're in the postseason. Chicago Cubs, they've got to keep pushing. Push. Right now, they're on a great roll. They're serving notice to everybody that this isn't just a nice team. This is a team that can win the World Series.
Our Lincoln Keys to the Game. Here is Chris Bryant. First to check on Soler. Huge numbers in his rookie campaign. He's already set a team record as a rookie with 93 knocked in, and he pulls one to left. That ball is fair, just inside the line. Soler coming around third. Gary Jones, the third base coach, will send him, and no relay throw. It's 1-0 Cubs. Chris Bryant with his 94th run driven in.
You see his off speed just kind of spins up there. Bryant rips it into the corner. We talk about the Cubs coming out right out of the gate, being aggressive, establishing the tone. And that's what they're doing right now. You see Soler, he's hustling all around. There's never any question. He's going all the way.
offensively, defensively, the way Travis Wood just went right through the lineup. Right now, it's got all Cubs written all over it.
They have been very good in this ballpark as of late. Winners of 18 of their last 22. Anthony Rizzo rolls one to Colton Wong for out number 2 as Bryant will move to third. And it'll bring up the man of the day yesterday, Starlin Castro.
He really swung the bat well. Hit those moonshot home runs. Been playing great defense. I mean, he really asked it to protect Anthony Rizzo. I mean, Rizzo's an MVP candidate. You got Castro. I mean, that's a big burden for a guy that a couple weeks ago you didn't know if he was going to be coming or going.
Hit his 9th and 10th home runs of the year, and he has some walk-up music that gets the Cubs dugout and bullpen into it. Walker will stay from the stretch, and that misses for ball 1. Rizzo and Castro both very good numbers against Waka, each with 2 home runs. 2-0.
See, Waka wanted that pitch, and that's where he's effective on the outer part of the plate. Most pitchers are away from the hitter. But home plate umpire Bruce Streckman not giving him that pitch early on.
That is a strike on the curve.
You see, this is the 1-0 pitch. It's a great pitcher's pitch. Does not get the call. Then comes back with a 2-0 curveball. Outer part of the plate.
Fastball close. Did not get that call.
I can bet you right now that Yadier Molina, catching, is having a discussion with Bruce Streckman behind the plate.
Ground ball that'll get in the left for a base hit. Bryant will score. Castro stays hot, and it's 2-0 Cubs. And forced Waka and the 3-1 to throw him something he could handle.
Well, Castro gets into a hitter's count, and this ball just bears in. Molina wanted it outside. Waka missed his spot. Castro makes him pay. The Cubs couldn't have scripted the beginning of this game any better.
Here's Javier Baez, just 22 years old. And a September call-up. And he's been really good. Had a very tough first go-around last year. Just a ton of strikeouts. Spending the year at AAA this season. Cut down on the strikeouts. He's closed his stance a little bit. And another hitter's count. Michael Waka has only thrown 2 first pitch strikes the first 6 hitters.
Not the way you want to start. 2-0 with Castro. He went with the curveball. Just don't want to throw this guy a fastball. Oof. Good location.
Well, Mike Matheny would like some length out of Waka after Lance Lynn had a short one yesterday. He could not get out of the 4th inning. And as he was leaving, he gave the home plate umpire yesterday, Dan Bellino, a piece of his mind for some pitches he thought were strikes. It's interesting, Eric. You know, we tend to view the baseball season based on the last week or 10 days, and it has not gone all that well for the Cardinals. They had lost 8 of 10, followed that up by winning 4 in a row. They lost yesterday. Cubs are surging, Pirates are hanging around, but if you ask any manager what team would you rather have right now, you'd want to have the team with the best record, and that is the Cardinals. Swing and a miss. for strike 3 to get Waka out of the inning, but the Cubs get a couple against the All-Star, and it's 2-0 Chicago after an inning. Today's telecast is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and the entirely new Lincoln MKX. Non-stop action, heart-pounding excitement, historic performances. Don't miss the 2015 postseason beginning October 6th. Go to MLB.com/postseason for a full schedule. Travis Wood with a 2-0 lead. Doubtful he will be able to get through the requisite 5 innings. Qualify for a win as a starter as he faces Johnny Peralta. Foul tip for a strike. So just to follow up on my note going to break, Eric, too much is probably made of momentum going into the postseason. You'd rather be playing well than poorly, but would you have concerns if you're Mike Matheny?
Well, I think you've got to have some concerns just with the health of the roster.
Peralta into the left field corner, and that should be extra bases. And that's a good sign for a guy hitting under 200 here in September.
But that's what I was going to talk about. You've got the health of the roster. You've got guys like Johnny Peralta, who since the All-Star break has basically been non-existent offensively. You know, this is a team that, you know, on paper, historically, they've done well. They've got a lot of contributions from guys that they didn't think they would need this year, whether it was Grichuk or Piscotty or guys of that nature. But they need their horses back. Matt Adams, Matt Holliday, this man at the plate right now needs a swing.
He has been scuffling out of the lineup each of the last 2 days. Only the second time this year he has missed consecutive starts. Wednesday night in Milwaukee, Yadier Molina struck out 4 times for the first time in his career. And he cuts and misses. His manager says he's just gassed. He's beaten up. He leads the majors in innings caught, so he's trying to keep him fresh for October.
Well, he's gassed, and remember this year, you know, he's come in. He's slimmer than he'd been in the past. You know, not hitting for the power that he has. Mike Matheny. I mean, he's done a wonderful job this year, considering all the injuries he's had to deal with.
Popped up on the infield. Anthony Rizzo will make the catch. Ken, it's been a trying year for a team that on the outside looking in, you'd say it's gone peachy, but it hasn't.
Right, Len, and they're in a tricky position right now. I spoke to General Manager John Mozeliak yesterday, and he said it's a delicate, complicated thing that they're going through. They've got Matt Adams. He essentially is doing a minor league rehab assignment in the major leagues. They've got Holliday, Matt Holliday, of course, in the same kind of boat. He'll start playing more regularly, they hope, early to mid next week. And then there's Randall Grichuk. He's got an elbow problem. Unlike the others, he can run fine, he can hit, but he has to maintain his proper care with the elbow, so he can't throw at 100% just yet. When he can get to 100 feet throwing, then he can play. So they're mixing in all of these new players, or returning players, at a time when it's pretty important.
Stephen Piscotty sends one high in the air. Left field corner, DeNorfia is over there, and that ball is just out of play. Very little foul territory when you get right down into the corners here at Wrigley Field.
Really? Not a lot of foul territory?
No,
I remember that from years past.
Yeah, you got to be committed if you're an outfielder.
That's why you'll see a lot of guys slide. You know, he slows down the momentum. They go feet first. Again, these walls not very forgiving, even with the padding.
Excellent numbers by Piscotty filling in. And while Joe Madden will have good problems to figure out his roster, same goes for Mike Matheny. But in his case, as Ken mentioned, it's more about the injured guys, and will Matt Holliday be able to start every day? Matt Adams. We saw Adam Wainwright out for the year. Maybe put that in parentheses. Will he be possibly available at some point? Well, the swinging bunt. Wood will not make a throw. Perfectly placed, even though Piscotty swung hard. That's an infield hit. And they have him at the corners with only one out.
That's a good job by Travis Wood. We see some of the athleticism of jumping off the mound, getting over there, but even making a better decision by not trying to throw out Piscotty at first. He's there. He gets himself in a good position. But wise to hold the ball.
Now it's the second baseman, Colton Wong, who made his major league debut in this ballpark back in August of 2013. Late swing, and he rolls it foul past third. You were pumped getting to the ballpark today. You were excited about this one.
I can honestly say this is about as excited as I've been to come to a baseball game since I put on a uniform. You know, just with what it means. You've got Cubs Cardinals, as good and as historic a rivalry as there is in baseball, and with everything that went on yesterday, you know, the rivalry, it's different than the Giants, Dodgers, and Red Sox, Yankees in that there isn't a lot of animosity. It's a friendly, fun rivalry, but make no bones about it, that each team wants to beat the other.
1-1. He's low and outside. Joe Madden said he's just going to keep an eye on Travis Wood. And if he's cruising along, he could possibly get up to 60 pitches. The entire bullpen is on alert. A fly ball out into the left. Peralta ready to tag. DeNorfia makes the catch. Here comes the play at the plate. And the ball gets away. Peralta's in safely. Looked like if David Ross had held on, he might have had him. It'll be a sacrifice fly for Colton Wong.
As you mentioned, the ball beats Peralta. A little offline. David Ross has to go backhand it, and that's difficult to do with those big gloves. Doesn't field it cleanly. Catcher's gloves are very bulky. Has to backhand it, then get the tag over. Doesn't field it cleanly. I don't think he ever really had it in his glove.
So 2 outs. Piscotty was able to advance to second on that throw.
You see, you watch this. See, he never really has that ball clean. And then just a little touch is going to knock that ball loose. And again, very difficult with those big bulky gloves.
He will now intentionally walk Reynolds with the pitcher Waka on deck. There's ball 3.
Well, obviously the right move here, but what it does is it turns over the lineup. So now, if they are able to retire Michael Waka, Matt Carpenter leads off the 3rd inning. Again, two balls this inning. The Cardinals have to feel fortunate. Piscotty, and then of course this play, the sacrifice fly. And DeNorfie does a nice job, but it is offline a bit. It forces David Ross to have to backhand, and as you see right there, it's a great shot. Never has the ball clean in the glove.
And it did look like Peralta had his left hand down on the dish just before the ball touched him. And the point ended up being moot as it trickled away. 1 strike on a foul by Waka. Cubs got 2 off Waka in the first. With the Cardinals answering back here in the second. Travis Wood from Bryant, Arkansas, 5'11", 175. 28 years old, former Cincinnati Red. He was an All-Star 2 years ago with the Cubs. And actually started the season in the rotation, but he's been a lot better out of the bullpen.
See 7 pitches in the first inning, 20 so far in the second.
Two and two. Cardinals have already clinched the season series that will end tomorrow. They've won 10 of the first 17. That'll get back out of play. Pirates lost last night. They had to face Zach Greinke in Los Angeles, so the Cubs are just 1 game behind Pittsburgh for home field advantage in the wild card game.
Doesn't get any easier for Pittsburgh tonight. They go against Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers.
Foul, strike 3, and that will end the inning. But the Cardinals get on the board on a close play at the plate. Johnny Peralta tagging, and the ball gets away from David Ross. It's now 2-1 Cubs in the second. the Strong Network. Have a favorite baseball memory? Go to hashtag MLB Memory Bank to share yours. I know you had a few in this ballpark.
Some wonderful memories. I was able to bring my boys on this trip. We walked around, and again, Cubs personnel ever so gracious as always.
We also got a look at the cramped visitors clubhouse. Old school. As Chris Denorfia takes ball one from Michael Wacha, who gave up 2 runs on 2 hits in his first inning of work. Off the inside corner, and he's behind again. A rare start for Denorfia as he's playing left. He's in his 10th major league season. And the 2-1 is in there. It's even, 2-2. '28th start of this season for Michael Wacha. Tied for 4th in the NL in wins. Mark Reynolds to the bag.
A nice play by Reynolds. Ball hit sharply, stays in front of it. Again, you mentioned this Cardinal defense, as good as there is in baseball.
Yeah, they've been pretty good at the run prevention bit, leading the majors in earned run average. Under 3, which is very rare. David Ross, 38-year-old catcher, takes a curve outside, ball 1. Off the outside corner. David Ross is on his 5th consecutive 2-year contract as a backup catcher. It's got to be a major league record, doesn't it?
Well, he's made a career of it. Rossi coming up with the Dodgers. I remember him hitting a home run off former Cub first baseman Mark Grace. Mark Grace pitching for the Diamondbacks. And David Ross took him deep.
That was the first homer of David's career.
I think it was the first one Gracie gave up in the big leagues too.
Probably was. Chopped foul. There is action in the Cubs bullpen. It's going to be a busy day out there. That is sinker baller Trevor Cahill. Inside, he walked him. Well, why are the Cardinals where they are? They have been very stingy in terms of their pitching, and they've been in first place since mid-April. A .290 earned run average, leading the major leagues. No team has had a sub-3 since the 1989 Los Angeles Dodgers. They've kept the ball in the ballpark, and Eric, they've made their biggest pitches with runners on base, which is always the goal. But they strand a lot of runners.
Well, you were talking about some of the numbers where runners in scoring position, they have one of the lowest batting averages against, as far as just stranding base runners as well as anybody in the game. And again, that comes with their ability to pitch and their ability to play defense.
Having said that, their ERA in September is almost 5. And Michael Wacha will not treat Travis Wood like a pitcher at the plate. He can swing it a little bit. Without a home run this year, but he's hit at least 1 in each of his first 5 major league campaigns. That did not look like a pitcher, did it?
No. He's not getting cheated at all up there. And maybe he knows he hasn't hit that home run yet this year. Again, Joe Maddon telling us what a great athlete he is. You almost got to go off speed here after that swing.
Got him on the changeup. That was a devastating pitch.
Well, really his signature pitch, this changeup, and why Joe Maddon decided to stack so many right-handers. That pitch especially paralyzing to left-handed hitters because it runs away as well.
Jackson lined to Hayward to lead off the Cubs first. He's in there for Dexter Fowler today. This under the radar acquisition in August. There's Dexter Fowler. He and Jackson will both be free agents after this season.
Oh, what a second half Dexter Fowler has had. Doesn't get all the recognition that the Bryants and Rizzo get, but what he's done at the top of the lineup.
As president of baseball operations, Theo Epstein. It's been a long process, and some who've watched this thing unfold think the Cubs are where they are a little earlier than necessarily planned.
Well, you mentioned the process, but the toughest thing is to stay disciplined enough and not let the outside noise influence your plan. And I think that's what this group has done so exceptionally well.
Swing and a miss, and that will end the inning. Carpenter will come up for the second time today to lead off the third. Players to watch. Remember, it's easy to play DraftKings, and there are thousands of dollars in prizes every day. Enter promo code BALLGAME to play for free at DraftKings SLN.com. Matt Carpenter's basically hit first or second all year, and he leads the Cardinals in homers and RBIs. And Anthony Rizzo will definitely get some MVP consideration in the National League. Ball one as Travis Wood starts this third inning, but it could be a batter-to-batter proposition with Trevor Cahill ready in the Cubs bullpen. A couple of years ago, Matt Carpenter hit 55 doubles, but he's starting to hit the ball out of the ballpark this year. 23 blasts. And the strikeouts as a result have gone up.
Well, and that happens. You know, you're going to have to give something to get something. And, you know, in this day and age, if you look at it, it's really only 20 more strikeouts right now. He's almost hit 3 times the amount of home runs as he did last year.
One and two on Carpenter. He's never seemed particularly bothered by hitting with 2 strikes. Even though maybe not cutting down quite as much this year, as we just mentioned, on that 2-strike swing.
Well, I think with the absence of Holiday and really that big thumper in the middle, that, you know, his role's changed a bit.
Shallow left. And it's Chris Denorfia. So 1 out, and it is Tommy Pham. Talked earlier about Randall Grichuk with the elbow issue. John Jay, 2 DL stints with wrist issues. And Tommy Pham, Ken Rosenthal, pretty good story, isn't he?
Really good, Len. A true study in perseverance. Reached Double-A at age 22. Pretty good. But then the next 3 seasons, surgery after surgery, injuries. Really didn't get much playing time at all. Didn't play much. I asked him if he thought about quitting the game, and he said that he always felt that he had too much ability to quit. He saw players with lesser or comparable ability getting to the major leagues, and he never wanted to ask himself, what if I gave it up too soon? What if I had just stayed in the game? So here he is after almost 3,000 plate appearances in the minors and an injury to open the season. At age 27, he finally has arrived.
He's been a big part of this thing here lately. 2 balls and a strike. You asked Mike Matheny, EK, about the challenges with all the injuries this season has presented, and he basically said if the Phams and Piscottis of the world hadn't stepped up, it would have been a lot more challenging.
Yeah, he deflected the attention away from himself, as he normally does, but he is right in that they've been able, and I say the organization's been able to provide guys that have filled in roles, and they haven't missed Matt Adams and Matt Holiday as they might have.
3-2 pitch on the outside corner, strike 3. Pham did not agree with Bruce Breckman.
That's a good pitch right there. I think the discussion is that ball hasn't been called, or they've gone either way, haven't been consistent. That's a good pitch, though. That is a strike. Tommy Pham not thrilled with it.
Two outs, and it's Hayward. And ball 1 outside. We referenced Hayward's defense, an underrated offensive player. Good eye at the plate. Because he's a corner outfielder, some think he should hit more home runs. And he has been very good for the Cardinals this season. Steady guy with all the injuries we mentioned.
Well, he has been steady, and I think when he burst upon the scene, the 27 home runs, the RBIs, people just thought that it was going to get better and better, and it hasn't. But a very good player with what people think is a much higher ceiling.
Three-0 the count on the outside corner. How about getting ready for free agency at age 26? It is not all that common. Bounces one foul. The Cubs face Jason Hayward, playing for his hometown Braves. And that was a long home run in his first at bat. 3-run shot off Carlos Zambrano, opening day, April 5th, 2010. Fourth Brave ever to hit a home run in his first plate appearance. Third youngest player to hit a home run in his first career at bat. At the time, now the fifth youngest, as he draws the walk. Here comes Joe Madden. And what Johnny Peralta do? And Wood at 46 pitches, that'll be it. We'll be back to Chicago in a moment. 2-1 Cubs. Trevor Cahill is on to face Johnny Peralta. Hayward at first. What's Joe Madden thinking here with this move?
Well, Travis Wood, remember earlier in the game, gave up the double to Johnny Peralta. You got that lefty versus righty matchup. But Travis Wood has done his job. 45, 46 pitches. Get Cahill in here for the matchup.
Pitcher spot made the last out for the Cubs, so Madden doesn't have to worry about Cahill facing one batter and then being lifted for a pinch hitter. So he decided to make the move here in the third. 2-0. Fifth appearance as a Cub. 15 appearances, 3 starts. Struggled earlier this year with Atlanta. Former All-Star. It's through his legs, but it'll take Castro right to second base. And that'll end the inning. Cardinals strand 1. They trail 2-1. Michael Wacha back to work. Seemed to settle in the second inning, and a curveball for a strike on Jorge Soler. He walked and scored in the first inning. Just off the disabled list a couple of days ago, had a strained oblique. And he pops one foul and to the seats down that right field line.
Oh, Wacha working ahead here. Not something that he's been able to do, but has found out that he's starting to get his changeup under wraps. Starting to feel a little better early on, just behind in the count. This is where you stay outside, you throw a breaking ball. They're just not getting that pitch. Not getting that. Cubs hitters are smart. They're laying off of it.
Tap foul. Soler at times this year has been susceptible to that breaking ball off the plate, particularly with 2 strikes. Not uncommon for a young hitter. Still 1-2.
Not typical when you get up to the big leagues. They're going to test you with the fastballs in, the breaking ball away, until you show that you can handle that. And then that's when the cat and mouse game begins. Adjustments.
Swing and a miss. He got him on the changeup. We had a chance to chat with Cardinal manager Mike Matheny. Couple of weeks left. If they come back and win today, they clinch a postseason berth. Will they celebrate?
Well, I think anytime any team has an opportunity to celebrate, even one game past the regular season, you got to take advantage of that. There's guys on this team that have never been able to do that. There's guys on this team that may never have a chance again. So we got to get there. Hopefully, still do it today. But something we just don't take lightly.
Early impressions of your pitcher, Michael Wacha.
Yeah, good. Now he's got his changeup working. It's a whole different game. Early on, had a little bit of trouble getting that pitch working and worked behind in the count. He's been very good this season about controlling the counts with his fastball, which is key to all of our pitchers. But he looks much better now.
Mike, thanks for the time.
All right, guys, thanks.
A prescient Mike Matheny. We talked to him before Wacha struck out Soler on the changeup. 3-0 on Bryant. Well, he made a great point about the fleeting nature of playoff baseball, especially when you're a young player and you get to a postseason. You just assume it's going to happen every year. That is not always the case.
Well, very easy to take things for granted. Again, the expectations, the achievements you have individually or as a team, you just say, oh, well, that's the way it's supposed to be. Savor them.
And ball 4. And Bryant is on. Speaking of the postseason, a couple of New York teams trying to get there. Let's send it to Ryan Field in the Fox Los Angeles studios for a game break. All right, Ryan, thank you. It is 2-1 Cubs in this one. Runner at first. 1 out. Anthony Rizzo hits one hard foul. The Cubs yesterday took 11 walks off Cardinal pitching. And Wacha has already walked 3 today. And seems to be finding his command a little bit better than he had in the first. Lined into right, and Bryant will stop at second.
Rizzo with that leg kick. Let's him drive that ball into the hole over there. It really just an MVP type year. Unfortunately, Bryce Harper, at least for Cubs fans, and Anthony Rizzo having a clear and away MVP type season. But Rizzo repeating what he did last year. I mean, really the centerpiece of this offense.
Very similar numbers to 2014, his big breakout season. Castro looks at a strike. 2 on, 1 out. Cardinals will try to turn 2 here. One and one.
And the Cubs hitters doing a great job of staying off that outside pitch, getting themselves into hitters counts, forcing Walker to throw the ball over the plate.
One and two.
Well, you see, they're staying away from Castro, especially after what he did to him yesterday. Set up nicely now for a breaking ball away.
Bounced foul. So yesterday, go-ahead homer on Seth Maness. It was a 2-run blast and a 3-run shot off Steve Cishek. He was very heartened by the curtain call he got. So the first time ever here at Wrigley Field. And then an RBI single to start this ball game. Former everyday shortstop, playing second base now. And Joe Madden can't take him out of the lineup these days.
Well, he's done a decent job defensively, but as you mentioned, the way he's been swinging the bat, he's there to protect Anthony Rizzo. I mean, that is no small task. He's done a great job as of late.
Bryant walked. He's at second. Rizzo singled. And now 2-2 on Castro. Walker's pitch, swing, and he just got a piece of it.
You see, going with that changeup again. Still think he's set up nicely for that breaking ball away. I mean, whether it's a swing and miss or hitting the ball on the ground. Molina continuing to want to go in.
Another foul as Castro spoils it. Ken, it would have been very easy for Starlin Castro to pout and not be a part of this thing, but the opposite happened.
Exactly, Len. And keep in mind, he's a 3-time All-Star who lost his starting job. And yet there hasn't been a peep out of him in a negative way. Since August 1st, he's hitting .343 with a .929 OPS. He's adjusted well defensively. He told me earlier this season, this is the team I've been waiting for my whole career. He was part of all of their losing teams, just wants to be part of a winner now.
Walker with a big strikeout. It's his 5th of the day, 2 down.
So I think you hit it right on the head when he's talking about wanting to be a part of what the future holds for this organization. I mean, who wouldn't want to be a part of this? Looks like a postseason right around the corner. As good a chance to get to a World Series, win a World Series as this organization has had. The renovations. It's a great time to be a Cub.
Baez wearing the Jason Hayward helmet extension. He had some recent dental work, so protecting that jaw area. Did you ever wear sunglasses at the plate?
I didn't. I could never. I didn't like the way the frames felt with the helmet on. You know, the first guy to do that, Tony Gwynn, and He wore those things religiously in day games. Worked all right for him too. Right?
It did.
The greatest hitters to ever play the game.
Wacha trying to put him away. Just off the outside corner at 97 miles an hour. It's funny how we just take for granted 97 from a starting pitcher. It's a lot more common these days than it used to be. The kick, the 1-2, and it's low.
But you talk about just taking granted the 97. I remember growing up 90 miles an hour. The big wow, oh my goodness. You know, and there's no doubt that the physicality of the game has changed. Stronger, the faster. You know, maybe the game isn't played as well fundamentally, but I don't think you can argue the physicalness of the game.
Swing and a miss. So Wacha getting his strikeout pitch working. 3 in the inning. It's a 1-run ball game early. New roads, and by Head and Shoulders. Shoulders were made for greatness, not dandruff. We are in the city of big shoulders, Chicago. Cardinals Cubs. On a beautiful Saturday. Kind of a crisp afternoon with the sun shining. Kind of feels a little bit like October, doesn't it?
It really does. Atmosphere as well.
Molina slams his bat down after bouncing to Baez for an out. Talked to Joe Madden, Cubs manager, about this, quote, bullpen day.
Well, it almost went perfectly there. If Woody had gone Hayward, I was going to go to Cale to start the next inning anyway. But so Trevor had to pick up one out there in the third. Just start counting outs and number of pitches and that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit challenging. When you have Travis Wood and Trevor Cale, it makes it a little bit easier.
A little bit about why you went with a predominantly right-handed hitting lineup today against Wacha.
Well, he's really a heavy reverse split guy. He does great work against left-handed hitters. You know, we've had a lot of opportunities today. He's already got almost 70 pitches after 3 innings, and I kind of like that.
Joe, real quick.
Yeah.
You keep talking about the division. You've been in third place much of the year, but you have talked about trying to win this division day after day after day.
Oh, yeah, no, listen, it's not just about going to the playoffs. If you set your sights there, the threat is that you're going to miss it. If you consistently and constantly bring out the same message, we're trying to win this thing, you have a much better chance getting to the playoffs. So I want our guys to continually think that way, and there's still an opportunity to do it.
Joe, thanks for the time.
My pleasure, guys. Have a good one.
Ball 4 as Piscotty is on via the walk. So Cubs are 6 games behind the Cardinals with 15 to go, including this one. And doing the math, if they have any shot at first, they're going to have to sweep this weekend.
You know, again, their schedule is much more difficult than what St. Louis has in front of them. Realistically, do they pass Pittsburgh? Yes, I think that happens.
Wong lines one foul to left, out of play.
While we were talking to Joe, Molina grounded out, obviously. Piscotty walked, and they were on outside pitches. And there were 2 or 3 of those that could have been strikes. Again, tough for the pitchers today, not getting that left side, or I should say the right side of home plate. Bruce Dreckman been very firm, not giving it to anybody. You see Joe there.
Two. Bounced foul behind the plate. Wong is 24 years old. First round pick, 2011. And he swung at one in the dirt for strike 3.
We're talking about the strike zone. Look at these 2 pitches to Piscotty. This is the 2-0 pitch on the outer part of the plate. Doesn't get it. And then this is the 3-0 pitch. Those are good pitchers' pitches right there. Now, if I'm hitting, I'm happy those aren't strikes, but making the guys work out on that mound today.
Mark Reynolds. It's for power. He walks and he strikes out a lot. 1,513 career strikeouts, 56th on the all-time list, and has the single season record 223 back in 2009. All-time strikeout king Reggie Jackson, 2597.
Got to be pretty good to get that, though. They keep running you out there. Hall of Famer.
Well, how about the top 5? Jackson, Tomey, Dunn, Sosa, A-Rod.
Pretty good hitters, though.
Yeah. Mike Schmidt's in the top 10. Swing and a miss. 2-2.
You want to look at some numbers now that we appreciate OPS and so. You go look at Mike Schmidt's numbers. I mean, that guy should have been an MVP every year.
Ground ball to short. That's Baez. And that's the inning. Cahill strands 1. It's the Cubs 2 and the Cardinals 1 in the 4th. Experience playing each other in the postseason. 1951, the shot heard around the world. Bobby Thompson of the Giants over the Dodgers. Aaron Boone, 03, sent the Yanks to the World Series over the Red Sox, who got their revenge the following postseason. And we could very well see the Cardinals and Cubs matchup in the playoffs for the first time ever this year. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, I'd really like to see a series. I mean, I think right now, with all the potential postseason teams, the series I would most like to see as a fan, Cubs Cardinals.
And if that happens, I'm sure yesterday's festivities will be brought up again. Nothing untoward has occurred to this point since the first pitch was thrown. It's a high strike from Waka to DeNorfia, 2-2. This goes back to the year after the Cubs were last in the World Series, 1945. It kind of leads into the conversation, after the game about the Cardinal way and all that stuff. And Mike Matheny kind of winced when it was brought up. He said it's not something we throw in anybody's face. My comment is it comes from a place of success. The reason people talk about the Cardinal way is because they've been really good. As DeNorfia bounces out to Wong.
Well, and when you're not part of it and you're the outside looking in, it does seem to emanate an aura of arrogance. And I know coming up with the Dodger organization, there was always this Dodger way. Again, it's not something that while you're in the organization, you're running around with a shirt that says, I play the Cardinal way, right? And so people take offense to it. And as Mike Matheny explained, it's just, look, you go out and play the game the right way.
David Ross lines one right to Johnny Peralta. Well, we go back the last decade and a half. Hall of Fame manager Tony La Russa. And they've just continued what he started with Mike Matheny. This will be the fourth straight year since he took over that they will have been in the postseason. And they continue to win after Albert Pujols left.
Well, that's the thing. The faces have changed. There are different people putting on that uniform. But you have to acknowledge that the success continues. And so there is something to be said about the history, the tradition, what is being taught. But also a little bit of luck, too. You got to have that whenever you have good fortune.
One Cahill is fouled out of play. Kenny, what do you have?
Well, when you talk about the Cardinal way, quote unquote, let's keep in mind what it refers to more than anything is a pattern of instruction, starting in the minor leagues. And when you ask why do all these players come up so prepared to play, that's the reason. That's the Cardinal way. And I get what Eric's saying. There's a sense of entitlement that other teams sometimes perceive, but it really goes back to what you said, Len, winning.
Well, there's a cardinal sin right there as Waka just walked the opposing pitcher.
Well, not always bad, though. You don't purposely do that, but then you get the leadoff hitter out of the way. You get the pitcher standing around. If you're trying to look at the positives of walking the pitcher. The thing is, though, you look at 83 pitches so far. Through 3 2/3 innings.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a pretty good try, but a reach. It only took him one extra pitch, however, to get out of the inning. So through 4 from Chicago, Cubs 2, Cardinals 1. Action sponsored by Geico continues on FS1 as UTSA takes on 25th ranked Oklahoma State. And it's a clash between Cal and Texas on Fox. And in the nightcap, an early season heavyweight showdown, 19th ranked BYU squares off against 10th ranked UCLA back on FS1. Starts at 3:30 Eastern on your home for college football, Fox and FS1. You're supposed to be impartial, so I will not ask you for a prediction on the night game tonight. Mr. Bruin.
I like UCLA. I like Josh Rosen.
Well, Waka walked Cahill. Now Cahill facing Waka. 1-2. Travis Wood started this game and went 2 2/3, gave up 1 run. Ground ball, and that is past Rizzo. So Waka says, I walked you, but I can do you one better. Leadoff single here in the 5th.
Just past the outstretched glove of Anthony Rizzo. Shoots it right down the line. It'll be interesting to see now if Rizzo holds Waka at first with the left-handed hitting Carpenter. I'd almost play behind him, give myself a little bit more range. Waka not going to run.
For now, he'll hold him as he's ready to sprint off the bag to get in position against Carpenter. And ball 1. Carpenter, 2-time All-Star, but he did not make it this year. Tough field. Todd Frazier, Nolan Arenado, and Chris Bryant represent the National League at third.
See Rizzo going behind Waka right now. Gonna give himself some more range. He'll back up.
Line shot, base hit, and the Cardinals threatening with 2 on and nobody out.
See Carpenter just driving that ball right up the middle, outer part of the plate. We got Tommy Pham, who went down on strikes his previous 2 at-bats.
Cornerman pulled in. Does not show bunt. And David Ross wants to talk it over with his pitcher. Pham will have a chat with Jose Oquendo, the third base coach.
Pham had been swinging a hot bat. Hit some home runs the last few games. And just be disciplined enough to not go to that outside pitch. Make Cahill get something middle part of the plate in.
In the air to right. Waka looking at Oquendo as he tags, and he's going to hold. Soler's got a cannon out there in right. Good job by Waka. He picked up his third base coach, and Oquendo said, nah, you should probably stay right there.
Pham trying to go the other way, move guys over, just not a good at bat. Waka just doing that for fun.
Now Hayward, who has grounded out and walked. Tying run is at second.
See, and this is the type of player that people had hoped he would develop into, and not to say that he still won't, but he's hitting third today. He's the middle of the lineup guy. He is the guy for this offense today. And he hasn't become that player. He's more of a guy that is a support guy, but he's been thrust into that role because of injuries. But I think early on in his career, and again, as you mentioned, only 25, 26 years old, you know, people felt like this guy is going to be somebody you can build your offense around.
1-2 on Hayward. Peralta's on deck. First 2 reached on singles, Waka and Carpenter. Knocked down by the veteran Ross.
Yeah, really a nice job by David Ross of keeping it in front of him and not letting the runners advance. But Cahill's gone to that pitch a couple times. He struck out Colton Wong with it. That's difficult because you see that with the spin on that hits the ground, and instead of continuing in the direction it's going, it shoots backwards because of the spin.
Topped foul. Still 2-2. Cahill ready. Swing and a miss. That's a huge punch out for Cahill. So after the first two reached, they have not moved. And they're all of a sudden 2 outs.
A good off-speed pitch right here. Just runs away, dives out of the zone. They were unable to stay off of it.
Tommy Hunter's the righty. Zach Rosscup, the left-hander. Peralta, the all-star starter for the National League, at short. Cahill's 1-0, 1-1. Off to a really good start. He hit .316 in April. But Peralta's average going in the wrong direction.
Still been playing solid defense, but as you mentioned, I mean, offensively, had a great year last year. Good start up until the All-Star break. But this is where they really missed the Matt Holliday. You're forcing Hayward and Peralta to hit 3 and 4, and they just aren't.
Second season as a Cardinal, former Indian and Tiger. And it's 2-2 on him.
Cahill has looked great. Kept the hitters off balance, making good pitches.
Fans on their feet. When these two teams meet here and in St. Louis, it's a sea of red, white, and blue throughout the stands. Both teams' fans travel very well. Swing and a miss. Cahill gets out of it on a foul tip. Peralta thought that ball hit the dirt. Mike Matheny is going to head out to argue with Bruce Dreckman, and he is convinced that ball hit the dirt. So Cahill gets into a jam and out of it. Ooh, it did bounce. sponsored by Budweiser. Budweiser, still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. Final pitch to Peralta. Looked like it hit the dirt.
Well, it did hit the dirt. And I think the thing that Mike Matheny was upset about, watch Bruce Dreckman, the home plate umpire. See, he gives a signal that it's a foul ball. But he thinks that Ross caught the ball and never hit the ground. So in between the inning, they all get out there, the umpires, they conference, and none of the guys out in the field felt that it hit the ground. So, again, it's a strikeout, but Mike Matheny absolutely correct right there. That ball did hit the ground. Dreckman called it a foul ball, or indicated contact.
Yeah, the foul part is key. A foul tip is treated as a swing and a miss, but it has to go directly in the mitt. And clearly that one did not. And we are brought to you by Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Major League Baseball. Fox Saturday Baseball on a sunny day in Chicago. Third to final weekend of the regular season. Soler, Bryant, and Rizzo do against Waka. That ball driven out into deep left, and it is gone. Halfway up the bleachers, Jorge Soler drills one, and it's 3-1. That got out in a hurry.
I'm not so sure he'd even finished his swing before that ball hit the stands. Again, just more demonstration of the talent in this Cubs organization.
You see some of the damage the righties have done against Waka. Joe Madden stacking the right-handers. Soler with his first start off the DL, in fact.
As you mentioned, an absolute laser. No doubt about that.
So his 8th of the year. Chris Bryant, they're going to go back to back. And almost on to Waveland. 4-1. That man kept it from reaching the street.
Well, in a matter of 5 pitches, this game has completely changed. Go back to the last inning, Peralta striking out, and then Soler, boom, Bryant, boom. This is Soler, this pitch out over the plate. We've seen this 25 times this year.
As we showed you on the graphic, that ties Hall of Famer Billy Williams for the Cubs single season rookie record. Williams hit 25 in 1961. And Bryant with his 25th. He seems well on his way to a 100 RBI season. Meantime, 2-1 on Rizzo. Seth Maness up in the Cardinal bullpen. He gave up the homer to Castro yesterday and took the loss.
Well, that was one of the things that Mike Matheny had hoped he wouldn't have to do, is get into that bullpen today. Cubs doing a great job, though, of elevating Walker's pitch count.
Line the other way into left. 3 consecutive hits to start the Cubs' 5th.
You see Bryant right there. A big guy, but a compact swing.
StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services.
You see that exit velocity, 108 miles an hour, 411 feet. Now, not close to that scoreboard shot he hit the other day, but everybody excited out there in the bleachers. You have to watch Rizzo now at first. 17 stolen bases this year.
Well, the Cubs like to run, and that's a change from past years. They're on pace for their highest National League ranking in steals since 1990. Currently ranked 5th. I don't think it's a coincidence, by the way. Nicely done out there, sir. You made the catch on that Bryant home run. Don Zimmer was the Cubs manager in 1990. And the late baseball lifer was very tight with Joe Madden in Tampa Bay. Joe has learned a lot about the game, especially as a manager, from Zim. Let's try to hit and run with the bases loaded.
Well, that's one thing. Joe is, he doesn't care what anybody else thinks. He's got his reasons for doing things. He's got conviction. But everything is thought out. There's a reason for it. It's not just done just because.
One strike on Castro. By the way, the wind is blowing straight in from center field. It obviously did not affect the balls hit by Soler and Bryant. When you hit him that hard, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Well, that one Soler, the wind could have been blowing in however hard it wanted to come. That thing was going right through it.
Up, and that wind will push it well out of play.
But if you look at the two lineups right now offensively, it just, the Cubs, there's a threat, 2 through 7. I mean, it just feels like somebody can do some damage. But right now, when you look at the Cardinals, you don't get that feeling.
Well, I think Holiday will be a big key, getting him back in the lineup. He's being particularly cautious with the quad because he tried to come back and then re-injured it.
You're absolutely right. You get him in there, you get Matt Adams.
Castro swings and misses. That is out number 1. Ken Rosenthal.
Guys, the whole key to the Cardinals, despite any talk about the offense, is starting pitching. The reason they've been so good all season is that their starters have enabled them to survive even their offensive droughts. So they've got to get Waka going. They've got to get Lance Lynn going again. They need their starters to be what their starters have been all year. If it's not going to be that way, even with Matt Holliday, they might not hit enough to be a dominant postseason team.
Couldn't agree with you more, Ken. You're right. That has been their strength from day one. And for much of the year without Adam Wainwright.
And the thing about that, though, what offense does do, though, is you don't have to be so perfect. And after a while, just the mental fatigue of having to be so fine. That's what allows Toronto to be so good. And then that elevates their pitching. Why? Because they're scoring so many runs. And there is room for error to make every pitch be like, I've got to get this thing on the corner or we're going to be in trouble. It takes its toll on a staff. I don't care how good you are.
Grind today for Waka, and Rizzo just takes off for second, and he's going to be out. They alerted Waka that Rizzo was on the move. And that's the second out.
Waka does a nice job of composing himself, not getting rattled. He just steps off, calmly throws. You know, a lot of times guys may balk, may make a flinching move. Waka did not.
Did Baez just point at Alfonso Marquez? I think he did. Luis Valbuena has done that. You never see batters actually appeal on a check swing. It's usually the catcher. Two and two. Sharply hit on the ground right to Wong, who went down to a knee. And that will end the inning. Now 2, 3, and 4. They combined 5 hits and a couple of home runs here to start the bottom of the 5th. Soler followed by Bryant, who hit his 25th, and it's now 4-1 Chicago.
The pitch by Downing, swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
Well, we lost one of the all-time greats. Broadcaster Milo Hamilton passed away earlier this week at age 88. Yadier Molina grounds out to Javier Baez. Rizzo able to get back to the bag. Milo worked in the big leagues for over 55 years. Worked for both the Cardinals and the Cubs. And that iconic call back in 1974. number 715 for Hank Aaron. He will be missed, and we're thinking about Milo this weekend. Cubs had a moment of silence for Milo before the game yesterday. Scotty swings away. That's deep to right. Austin Jackson will make the basket catch. Jackson just moved from center to right. Eric, I referenced this earlier. Before he got traded from Seattle, Jackson had played nothing but center field. He's played a lot of right here. Right field at Wrigley during the day is very tricky.
Yeah, he does a nice job. You've got the wind out there, and then you've got the uneven wall. Figures out you've got the different surfaces, whether it's the ivy or in the fence.
Fowler into play center. Yeah, this is a Joe Madden move when his team gets the lead in the middle innings. He will start making moves to improve his defense. Trevor Cahill has been tremendous. One jam he got into, he quickly got out of in the fifth. We still have a long way to go today, but this is a game that is impossible to predict, right? You've got an all-star starter for the Cardinals, Michael Wacha. The Cubs going in with a, quote, bullpen day. So you think advantage St. Louis. But you add up what Wood and Cahill have done, it has been very impressive.
It really has. And I think just the way the tone was set in that first inning. Travis Wood coming out, 7 pitches, gets his team back in the dugout, and then Cubs come out and score.
So Wong gets hit on a 2-2 pitch. Today's telecast is sponsored by DraftKings. Free 1-week fantasy football at DraftKings.com. And by The Walk in theaters October. Matt Adams announced for Mark Reynolds. And that will prompt a visit from the Cubs pitching coach Chris Bosio. It's been an interesting year for Trevor Cahill, hasn't it, Ken?
Len, this has to be the highlight. This is a player who was released on June 19th by the Braves, went to the Dodgers, released by the Dodgers August 14th. So, released twice, pitching in a big game here today in a bullpen day. Pretty impressive so far.
His day may be nearing its end as Clayton Richard is up in the bullpen, but he will face Adams, the pinch hitter.
Now you look at those numbers. He's kept the hitters off balance and the changeup and sinker.
Lead by Wong at first. I think I know the answer. I'll ask it anyway. It was a hit batter, but clearly didn't look on purpose.
Nothing there. No, that's just one that got away. You know, and it's just like yesterday, the ball that Herron threw to Matt Holliday. No intention, it got away. But the fact that it was Matt Holliday, the horse guy for the Cardinals, your best guy, and he got hit in the head. That's why there's intentional or not, you know, there's got to be some payback.
Adams missed over 90 games with a right quad strain that required surgery in late May. It didn't look like a big deal, but it ended up being that. Right there, grabbed him.
And as a hitter, especially if you're a hitter that likes to drive the ball, legs are so important. Bottom half. Finally just starting to feel good.
He rolls one to Bryant, playing well off the line. And actually throws to the shortstop, covering second because of the shift. It is 4-1 Cubs over the Cardinals in the 6th. Eight, 7, Fox. Jonathan Broxton. And a slider for a strike on Chris Denorfia. Adams stays in the game, plays first after hitting for Reynolds. Broxton has split the year between the Brewers and the Cardinals, making a tour around the National League Central, former Red. At the time of Kansas City, and before that a long stint with the Dodgers to start his major league career.
The big man throws the ball hard, not quite what he used to. He was a closer for many years with the Dodgers.
6'4", 305. So to go back to how Joe Madden likes to tinker, especially in September, if he's trailing 4-1, Chris Denorfia does not take this at bat. It's Chris Coghlan. And Joe likes Denorfia's glove, so a 3-run lead. If that continues, Denorfia will likely finish the game. Shallow right. Wong is out. Hayward in, and Wong can't get it. It's a bloop single for Denorfia.
Wong made a great effort going after that thing as quick as he could. I think because of the way he was going after it, Hayward felt like he was going to let him have it the entire time. Almost as if he overran it. See the ball to his left a little bit.
Yeah, you're on it. It looked like Hayward could have caught it, but he was looking at a potential collision there and decided to avoid it. Ross shows bunt as the Cardinals pitch out.
Another good time for a hit and run right here. Cardinals thinking that he's going to bunt. Rossi showed that as soon as he realized the pitch out was coming. Not showing anything there.
Another check on the runner.
I think Matheny feels the same thing. Wheels turning right there.
Michael Wacha went 5 innings. Gave up 4 runs on 6 hits. He walked 4 as well. Struck out 7. There's the bunt toward first. Broxton fell down, but Adams able to tag Ross on his way through.
See Broxton trying to get off the mound. Goes down right away.
Aerial footage today brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Beautiful shot of a sold-out Wrigley Field. Cardinals Cubs weekend. Cardinals Bears weekend as well. Those Cardinals are now the Arizona Cardinals. One strike on a pinch hitter, Tommy La Stella.
Been swinging the bat a little bit as of late. Joe Madden talking about how hard he hits the ball. He's been having some success. There's another guy on the postseason roster, allows you some versatility.
Out of play. Stella came over from Atlanta in a trade in the offseason. Natural second baseman, can play some third as well. I don't expect a lot of young guys to be comfortable as pinch hitters, but that could be La Stella's role moving forward. And that ball lined into center and a base hit. Denorfia around third. He will score, and it's 5-1.
This pitch in a little bit. Listella fights it off. Drops it into center field. Another competitive at-bat.
I know players don't always buy this, but Joe has said about Listella at times he's too good to be in the lineup. I need him off my bench. Pitch to Jackson. He went around. Alfonso Marquez made the call at first. Would you ever buy that if a manager said, EK, I'd love to start you today, but you're way too valuable.
Don't want to hear that. Yeah, do not want to hear that.
And foul and out of the bullpen.
That was always a thing as a young guy. I remember as a kid that came up that was a very good pinch hitter. But you almost didn't want to have too much success as a pinch hitter because it would pigeonhole you. And it's the last thing you want to do as a young guy. Not a good career move.
Two strikes on Jackson. Short lead by Listella. This is the start of a long and the final homestand of the year for the Cubs before they hit the road for the final week at Cincinnati and Milwaukee. Pirates will be here next weekend. That could loom large in terms of who finishes where in the wild card.
Yeah, Pirates have really an uphill battle in that they've got Kershaw today and the Dodgers out west. Then they've got to go to Colorado. And I think that series, I mean, that decimates any pitching staff. I don't care how good you are when you have to go into Colorado. You follow that, having to play some must-win games here at Wrigley.
Yeah, no team likes going to Coors Field. Even when you win, you feel like you end up paying for it in some fashion. And we'll have next Saturday's Pirates-Cubs matchup right here on Fox. Pirates still have 3 more at home against St. Louis. Fly ball the other way. Routine for Hayward. And he's got it. Yanks trying to pull away from the Mets. And Ryan Field in our Fox Los Angeles studios has a game break. Thanks, Ryan. There's Fowler. Well, you referenced the Toronto Blue Jays earlier. By far the best offensive club in baseball. Obviously, the pitching gets a lot tougher when you get into October, but will they continue to be able to bludgeon people? That's the big question.
Well, I think with them, even without Tulowitzki, there's just no place to breathe if you're a starter. And usually when a pitcher is trying to look at a lineup that he's got to attack, you know, there are places where you don't want to get beat and other places that you're going to go after. With Toronto, there's no place to exhale. And that's why I said that offensively they make their pitching staff even better. That team is not somebody you want to run into, obviously.
2-0 on Dexter Fowler, his first plate appearance. Randy Choate, the lefty. Miguel Sokolovic, the right-hander. Going into this game, the Cubs tied with the Kansas City Royals for the third best record in baseball. The top two belong to the Cardinals and the Pirates. I would say you could argue the NL Central's been the best division in baseball, but I don't think there's much of an argument.
No.
Not this year. But if everything stays the way it does, only one team will get to the NLCS.
Well, and that's the thing. It's, I don't want to say it's disappointing, but it is. You play an entire season to get to the postseason. You have one of the best 3 records, and it could be one game. And you kind of left standing there if you don't win that game, saying, "Wow, what was that all for?"
There goes Fowler. Went around. That is strike 3 to end the inning. The Cubs add to their lead. It's 5-1 as we go to the 7th. In the social world, Starlin Castro getting the curtain call as the Cubs tweeted out yesterday. Tag your posts with hashtag #SwingData. T-Mobile will keep the conversation going. Data strong all season long. Left-hander Clayton Richard is now on in the 7th against a pinch hitter, Randall Grichuk. Bryant in front of Baez will make the play. Richard has been like Wood and Cahill. He's now you could use as a starter or a reliever, and they've all worked today.
Yeah, nice day on Thursday against Pittsburgh. Came in and threw 3 1/3. Ate up some innings. Again, Joe Maddon's got so many options right now. It's not a situation where this roster's been expanded in September just to reward guys or congratulate him for a good year. Everybody he's got, there's a purpose.
Carpenter bounces to first. It gets away from Rizzo, and Carpenter is aboard. He's made a few errors here lately. And the Cardinals hoping that one opens the door here in the 7th.
Well, he circles the ball nicely and then just moving through it. Keeps his head down. Sometimes it'll hit something in the dirt or take a left or right turn on you.
Strike on Tommy Pham. Well, like Mike Matheny, Clayton Richard went to the University of Michigan. Unlike Mike Matheny, he was a backup quarterback there. Swing and a miss. 0-2. From Lafayette, Indiana. Chose Michigan instead of Purdue. Mr. Football and Mr. Baseball in high school. And a base hit to right. So the Cardinals down 4 have 2 on here in the 7th with Hayward coming up.
This is typically or where the Cardinals would have Matt Holliday. This is where I say that he does make a huge difference. Again, Hayward more of the support guy, not the guy you build an offense around.
And Hayward came up with 2 on and 1 out in the 5th inning against Cahill and struck out. Cahill got completely out of that inning unscathed. And now Hayward facing the lefty Richard. A topper right side. Richard will cover. The backhand flip, and he's on the bag. So they get Hayward 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs.
Well, nice play by Rizzo getting over there. Richard doing a nice job of catching the ball and finding the bag at the same time. Just beats the speedy Hayward.
So Joe Madden wants a right-hander. So Justin Grimm coming in. 5-1 Chicago. At bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, radio broadcasts, and more. Get the MLB.com at bat app now. Here's Justin Grimm. Second and third, 2 outs. Johnny Peralta, late swing as he fouls upstairs. Off to a great start. He's had some struggles as of late, particularly with the walk. He does not want to walk Peralta here to bring the tying run to the plate. Good numbers for Peralta against Grimm. This game, Eric, has not felt as close as the score would indicate. But the Cardinals a couple of hits away here from getting right back into it.
Well, you know, the Cubs, they've shown some power. They've hit some balls in the seats. The Cardinals just, the offense almost looks lethargic. And there doesn't feel like there's anybody in that lineup that's a real threat. Matt Carpenter swung the bat well, but, you know, Molina's had some very feeble at-bats. You know, outside of Peralta's double, it just, you know, I can't say it enough. A guy like Matt Holliday is somebody that they really, really miss.
Down by Ross, keeping Carpenter third, Fan behind him at second.
You know, when offenses do struggle, the team looks lethargic. See Kevin Segras there in the pen. But as you mentioned, one swing of the bat, it's a one-run game.
Line and caught by Bryant. Bad luck for Johnny Peralta. He hit it right on the screws. So the Cardinals strand a couple. Stretch time in Chicago, 5-1 Cubs. Sponsored by Bank of America, who invites you to keep sharing your favorite baseball memories all season long. And by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the MLB. Aerial footage brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Beautiful day. We're on Lake Michigan. It's left-hander Kevin Segras. 6'5", 215, a 41st round pick, 2008. Ball one on Chris Bryant. Fouled back. In the 5th inning, after Jorge Soler had homered, Bryant followed with a long shot to the back of the bleachers and left. His 25th.
I'll tell you what, as a Cubs fan with Bryant, Rizzo, and what this future looks like, it's going to be a lot of fun. And for this kid to come up as heralded as he's been and just produce. I mean, you start to believe that that's just the way it is. You got the Harpers, the Trouts, a guy like Bryant.
Swing and a miss. He got him on the let up. Well, Chris Bryant gets his money's worth, doesn't he? StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services. Used to be trying to hit it on the street. Now it's hit the video board in left. 477 against the Washington Nationals. And then this shot against Arizona earlier this month.
I mean, that's crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point he goes over the scoreboard. I mean, he's got that kind of power.
And you start mentioning names like Sammy Sosa, Glenn Allen Hill, and Dave Kingman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when Hill hit one across the street on the roof. Or I remember when Kingman hit one up the street on Kenmore. And Sammy, he'd have the camera guys ducking for cover out in center field.
How about I remember when Tuffy Rhodes?
3 on opening day.
Yeah.
Up. Speaking of Chris Bryant, Ken, he and John Maley have worked on his swing path. He swings and misses on pitches in the strike zone, but just trying to flatten the bat out and keep it in the zone a little longer.
Right, that's the adjustment he made, Len, after he slumped in July. 639 OPS in July. That was by far his lowest of any month. But what he did was he went back to video, and he noticed that he was fouling balls off, uppercutting too much. So he went back to some drills that he did at the University of San Diego. And Eric, you're like this. He tried to get his swing more linear. So he concentrated on swinging through the ball, keeping his bat flat through the zone. And we've seen him be one of the best hitters in the National League in the last 2 months.
It really has been phenomenal. And it's interesting you mentioned that, Kenny, the linear path of the bat. Well, Mark McGwire, the famous Cardinal, now hitting coach of the Dodgers, he preaches the same thing, keeping that bat through the zone.
Peralta can't quite get him. Great effort. But Castro has an infield single, his second hit of the day.
That play was sick. I mean, you watch Peralta, he fields the ball and then comes up throwing without even looking at first. I mean, what? He just goes and just throws. I'm just spinning and throws. There's no gathering, nothing. Just boom, turn, and throw. He knows where first base is. You know, just watch this. He hasn't picked up first base. Just turns and throws. Knows where he is. I remember playing on a team with the great Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith. It was a tournament team, and I took balls at first base. He was taking grounders at short. He took ground balls at short and would not look at first base. His head turned towards third. Boom, chest high throws every single time.
Wow. Now Peralta, an underrated defensive shortstop. Not known for his range, but you hit a ball at him, he'll make the play. And he actually did show some good range on that play. 2 strikes to Baez. Segrist will check on Castro. I mentioned a low round draft pick, 41st round Segrist, 2008. Their closer, Trevor Rosenthal, he went in the 21st round in 09. Really good value and becoming a big part of this bullpen. Fernando Rodney, another guy the Cubs got from Seattle in a mid-season trade. Still 1-2 on Baez. Talked to Joe Madden before the game. He said, I was an American League guy. I had heard about all these kids, and I got to see them in spring training, and he really took to Javier Baez. Loves what he can do defensively.
I mean, is there better bat speed in the game?
Oh. Well, you watch him, and he's calmed things down, but he'll take some very wild swings, and you kind of assume he's that type of defensive player. He's not. Really slows the game down. Excellent instincts, and Joe's been a fan since day one. Got that MLB logo tattooed on the back of his neck. It's been there for a while, well before he got here. Castro runs. The ball gets away from Molina. It'll be a stolen base.
Molina, not much chance at all in this situation. Bounces it well in front of home plate, does Segrist. Castro easily into second. Important run out there. You always want to stay within grand slam range. One swing of the bat can do it, but
popped up. Pedaling Colton Wong. 2 hands on it. Will end the frame. It's late in Chicago. Fox Saturday Baseball. It's 5-1 Cubs. Michael Wacha was settling in. And then Jorge Soler and Chris Bryant greeted him with back-to-back home runs. Bryant on the changeup, his 25th of the year. That'll take us into our game summary, sponsored by Budweiser. 6th time Cubs have hit back-to-back home runs this season. Bryant tying the single-season rookie record for the Cubs. Starlin Castro, a couple of more hits. He's knocked in 7 in this series, and the Cardinals have had some chances, but 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position, and they're running out of outs. Fernando Rodney to Yadier Molina, ball 1.
And you mentioned it earlier, as you see Javier Baez at second base. Addison Russell moving over, or coming into the game, I should say, at short. You know, one of the guys we did not mention, Trevor Cahill, came in relief of Travis Wood. Did an excellent job. 3 1/3 innings, 3 strikeouts. Held the Cardinals to only 2 hits, but very effective.
Just outside, 3 balls, no strikes. Well, that's the pitch that you identified, I think, in the very first inning that Bruce Dreckman was not calling, and Fernando Rodney taking a little walk.
Well, if Fernando had been watching any part of the first few innings, he'd know that that pitch wasn't getting called for either side. Oh,
it's the automatic 3-0 strike.
See Molina saying something. He said that's 4 or 5 inches outside. That's crazy. You haven't been calling it when it's over the plate. Why are you going to call it when it's off the plate?
Bryant, spin, and a high throw, but Rizzo's got it. Or Molina really upset.
Yeah, I think he's upset. I think he's more than anything, too, just frustrated. I mean, you mentioned he's coming off the 4 strikeout performance the other day, and then really up until that at-bat, had seen a total of 4 pitches. Just not swinging well at all.
So we referenced the 4 strikeout game. That was Wednesday in Milwaukee. Career game number 1,462. Before that game, he had only struck out 3 times. 3 times ever. So that's an attention getter. And a guy like Molina has that type of night, and it definitely got his manager's attention, and he gave him the next 2 days off. Scotty went around. 1-2. Bullpen. Let's go back to the 2010 Stanford baseball team as Mark Appel, #1 overall pick. You see Piscotty in that back row, and the Patriots running back Tyler Gaffney. Piscotty would go 36th overall in that 2012 draft.
Stanford always a collegiate power in baseball. Fans in the area may remember Black Jack McDowell, the Chicago White Sox. Pitched at Stanford.
Fun trivia, the guy with the most major league experience who went to Stanford, Bob Boone, 19 years as a big league catcher. Rodney will underhand to Rizzo for the out. So it's Wong with 2 outs, nobody on here in the 8th. So going back to our earlier conversation about what the Cardinals will need here in a couple of weeks in October. If Ken Rosenthal is right, it'll be Carlos Martinez tomorrow. He needs to step up against John Lester. And what should be a really good matchup in the final regular season matchup between these two teams. And it will not be a bullpen day for the Cubs. I'm hoping Lester can go deep. Now I'm going to play it in the middle. I agree with Ken that their starting rotation, that has been their strength. But I'm with you too. Matt Holliday might be the key for them offensively. They don't have him 100%. They're going to have trouble scoring runs.
I just think that pitching wise, they've got a couple of guys that can fill that role. They can on any given day go out and shut somebody down, whether it's Waka or Lackey, Martinez. I'm just not sure that they have somebody that can replace Matt Holliday. And I know they've been able to navigate their way through the season, but when you're talking about a short series and that's somebody that you don't have to worry about, just creates a lot of pressure for the rest of the guys. There's Matt.
Well, good to know he's okay after getting hit in the back of the helmet by that Dan Herron pitch yesterday. And for the record, he comes out of that game no matter what. Because of the quad, he can only pinch hit and then needs to be lifted for a pinch runner. And if he looks big on television, if you've ever been next to him, it's even more intimidating. And Wong gets hit. That's the second batter on the Cardinals to get hit, and now warnings have been issued by Bruce Dreckman. Wong not happy. That's the second time Wong actually has been hit. That was Cahill getting Wong in the 6th.
You know, and intentional or not, you know, it's one of those things that if you're, you know, in that Cardinal dugout, you're thinking, look, if you're going to throw in there, you better have control. You better have control. Now, was that intentional? I don't think it was intentional, no. You know, the Cahill ball was, he was trying to throw that ball that goes right at Wong's hip and then comes over the plate. Didn't move.
In case you're just joining us yesterday, some tensions rising. Very dangerous situation. Matt Holliday got hit by Dan Herron, and then later, after warnings had been issued, Matt Belisle threw behind Anthony Rizzo. It actually clipped him on the pant leg. 29th time Rizzo's been hit this year. Automatic ejection. And not only Belisle, but also the manager, Mike Matheny. And Joe Madden very upset after the ball game. Two-out base runner. And the 0-1 to Adams. 0-2. It's that changeup, the bread and butter pitch for Rodney.
You know, we talk about Matt Holliday. That's another guy right here, Matt Adams. So important in the postseason the last few years.
One and two. Here it is. Swing and a miss. Rodney strikes out Adams. And we'll go to the bottom of the 8th. It's the Cubs 5 and the Cardinals 1. These most thrilling historical moments of the game. Cardinals earning their 3,000th career hit against the Cubs. Stan Musial, 1958, a double off Mo Grabowski. Youngest to reach that milestone, and it was here at Wrigley. And then on the turf at Old Busch Stadium, Lou Brock, August 13th, 1979. A single off Dennis Lamp. I have to remind you, if you've been around for a while, that Lou Brock was traded by the Cubs to the Cardinals in 1964. And the ex-Cub Carlos Villanueva working to Chris Denorfia here in the 8th. If they've invented a pitch, Carlos Villanueva probably throws it.
Yeah, not overpowering stuff. Almost try and trick you. Got the mustache going too.
He was always one of the top contenders for the slowest pitch thrown in the majors. Occasionally flip up a curveball in the upper 50s, low 60s as he gets Denorfia. Today's telecast is sponsored by Volkswagen App Connect. Take your favorite apps for a ride, and by Goodyear. Tires chosen by experts for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Sun is shining. People out on the lake today. And a sinker for a strike on David Ross. He'll be back in there tomorrow. He catches most of John Lester's starts. You posed an interesting question to Joe Madden about how he might manage that final game of the regular season in Milwaukee. Should something else be on the line? A division or home field advantage for the wild card? As Ross pops into center. Fan battling the sun, he's got it. The idea of Jake Arrieta, do you save him for a wild card game or use him if you can get more?
Well, and I think Joe mentioned that he didn't feel that home field was all important for a wild card game, not at the expense of losing a guy like Arrieta. And you're talking about division, that's a whole different animal. But I think he's got options. Lester threw a great game the other day. But I don't think right now, if you asked anybody in baseball, Cubs have to win one game. Who's on the mound? It's Arrieta. I think last year, if you look at what the Pirates and Clint Hurdle did, Garrett Cole pitched the final game of the season. Not only did they have to win, but they had to hope for a St. Louis loss with Wainwright on the mound, and then that would just get them a playoff with St. Louis for the division. They lose Cole on Sunday, have to throw Volquez versus Bumgarner and the Giants, and we know what happened there.
Two and one. Of the three NL Central teams, Cubs seem to be best positioned for a one-game wild card because of Arrieta.
Absolutely right. And it doesn't matter where he pitches, whether it's here or Pittsburgh. His stuff travels. Witnessed that in Los Angeles earlier this year.
And Russell takes ball 4 with more on the wild card setup. Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Len, I spoke earlier this week with Commissioner Rob Manfred, and I asked him specifically about the Pirates' plight. 3 straight wild card games looks like it's going to happen for them, even though only 2 teams have won more games than the Pirates in the last 3 years. And he said, really, you've got to look more big picture than at any one team. He said the system, by design, or the way it was designed, is essentially working. It was designed so there'd be more incentive to win the division. That's happening. Disadvantage for the wild card teams. That's happening. And basically, he just said it's working the way they wanted it to.
Well, top 3 in this division are likely headed to October, 5-1. Excitement, historic performances. Don't miss 2015 postseason beginning October 6th. Go to MLB.com/postseason for a full schedule. Hector Rondon is the Cubs closer. This is not a save situation as he faces pinch hitter Greg Garcia. Garcia's first career home run came against Chicago in June in St. Louis. 1 ball, 1 strike. Top of the order to follow. Another hit batter. Not deemed intentional. Warnings had been issued earlier. That one got away from Rondon, and Mike Matheny is heading right out to Bruce Dreckman. Oh, he tossed him. That is about the most polite ejection I've ever seen.
Wow. I didn't think he was going out at all. And then you saw Matheny coming out. He wanted something to happen. And Bruce Dreckman threw him out. They had issued warnings.
This is all a judgment call. You can kick a guy out without a warning. You can issue warnings and not send a guy out. But Bruce Dreckman, I think, has a no tolerance policy at this point after what went on yesterday.
Well, and again, there have been 3 Cardinal hitters hit, and you know, none of them have been like the Rizzo ball yesterday. We're still not sure if that ball hit him or not. I mean, the Cardinal hitters, they've been wearing it. That wasn't as bad as it looked. But again, was there any intention? No. No, not in this situation.
Well, you can almost read the script that Joe was telling Tom Hallion, that's my closer. That guy's here to get the final 3 outs. And it looks like it'll be Pedro Strop. Once Joe calms down, he'll have to make a call to the pin.
Well, and I think a lot of this, too, you have to, it goes back to yesterday and the comments that were made, and, you know, we're not going to take it, and this sort of thing. And, you know, all that plays into the thought process of these umpires. And so they make this call now, and a lot of it has to do with yesterday and what went on after the game.
And now it might be matchups. Zach Roscup with Matt Carpenter due. Joe wants to know, can I go talk to my pitcher as if I'm making a pitching change? So we'll let Roscup get loose. Don't go anywhere. 5-1 Cubs in the ninth. Races in true HD quality on MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Visit MLB.TV today. And tonight, Major League Baseball returns to FSN. The AL Central leading Royals take on the Tigers in a game you can only see on FS1. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Well, the reason for the delay, Zach Rosscup out of the bullpen for Hector Rondon. 3 Cardinals have been hit. Colton Wong twice, once by Trevor Cahill. A warning was issued after Fernando Rodney plunked Wong, and then Greg Garcia gets hit on a 1-2 pitch from Rondon. And Bruce Breckman very calmly says, "You got to go." Here's Rosscup against Carpenter. Garcia's on. Nobody out in a 4-run ball game.
Well, you see that shot right there of Matt Carpenter, and beyond Matt Carpenter, Matt Holliday looming on deck.
Carpenter tried a bunt. You see there, you're trying to bunt for a hit. And that pitch almost hit him.
We talked a little bit earlier about the Cardinals keeping this game within grand slam range, where one swing of the bat can still tie a ball game. They get some base runners. They get to the middle of their lineup. Give themselves an opportunity. Really a nice pitch, a breaking ball out of the zone. Carpenter showing bunt on the very first pitch. That tells you that not real confident against this young lefty.
One ball and 2 strikes. There's Holliday. Pinch hit yesterday and was hit by a pitch. Carpenter splintered his bat. Our producer today, Aaron Stoikoff. Our director, Jonathan Evans. Technical producer, Craig Marlowe. Technical director, Paul Harbath. The associate director is Bentley Elliott. Our broadcast associate, Jordan Harrison. Great work by our entire Fox crew. A playoff-like atmosphere here today. Over 40,000 in the seats. That ball driven deep to right, and it is gone. A home run, and the Cardinals are down only 2. Matt Carpenter with his 24th home run this season on a 1-2 pitch. As we said, don't go anywhere.
After the first 2 pitches, didn't look like Carpenter was seeing the ball out well. At first he tries to lay down the bunt, then swings at a breaking ball out of the zone, but after seeing a few more pitches, gauges up the young left-hander and adds to that career high total in home runs.
He set it off the top. He's been hitting in the top 2 spots in the order. He leads the club in homers and RBIs.
Just a great job of keeping that back elbow against his body, maximizes his power.
It will be Pham now, and not Matt Holliday. he looked at it, but you could tell his quick reaction. He knew it was gone right when he heard the sound off the bat of Carpenter, and it's 2-0 on Pham.
Pham's job just to get down to first base right now. You really got to zone this pitch up. Got to be right down the middle, up in the zone. If it's not there, you're not swinging.
So interesting move by Mike Matheny. He had Holiday up. He does not use him here. You've got Hayward, Peralta, Molina.
That's where you use him. That's where you use him, right? You just said Molina. And that's where I'm saving Matt Holiday right now. Is the way Molina has swung the bat today, I mean, it's not there for him.
Two balls, no strikes. And the aggressive swing by Pham that time. That's going to drop, and a base hit, and the tying run will come up. So Pham is on, and here's Hayward. Chris Bosio out to the mound. Jason Hayward on this road trip, a big game-winning 2-run homer, 10th inning of Tyler Thornburg. He swept that series and came into this one having won 4 in a row before dropping the opener on Friday.
Again, it seems a while ago, but 1-2 pitch. Gets away from Rondon, changes the whole complexion of this inning. Could change the game.
One and 0. Pitch just down the outside corner. Sokolovic up for the second time. Cardinals have been a good comeback team, and that's not surprising considering they have the best overall record in the majors. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
You see those swings. That swing by Hayward, the swing by Carpenter on the breaking ball out of the zone. I mean, not easy to pick up. I know Carpenter hit the home run, but lefty's not seeing the ball well off Roscoe.
He held, according to Dan Bellino. That could loom large. Two balls, 2 strikes. I think he held. That's punched into center and a base hit. Pham is going to head to third. A little bobble by Fowler. But that did not affect the play. They're at the corners with nobody out. A hit batter, a 2-run homer, and back-to-back singles. And that will be it. And Dave Martinez is coming out. So did Joe Madden get ejected earlier? Yeah. So with Rondon getting ejected, Joe Madden gets a hook as well, like Matheny did yesterday. with Belisle. Pitching change here in the 9th. It's 5-3 Cubs. Against Johnny Peralta, who hit a game-winning homer here off Strop in July. First and third, nobody out. 2 runs in on the Carpenter home run. And I apologize for failing to mention that Joe Madden got ejected. It's an automatic. After warnings, you kick out a pitcher, his manager goes with him.
Remember, Peralta lined at Bryant in his last at-bat with runners on. Mentioned a home run earlier.
Swing and a miss. July 8th, 2-out, 2-run homer. And the Cardinals escaped with a 6-5 victory. Oh, 2. Called strike 3, got him on the slider. That's all he threw him in that at bat. So 1 out, and here is Molina.
As you mentioned, all sliders. The first 2 decent pitches. The last one, not sure what Peralta was looking for. This thing just hung right down the middle, just spun. This I'm a little surprised right now. You've got Matt Holliday as an option. Molina has not swung the bat well at all today.
First and third. And a strike on Molina. And has he come up with some huge hits against the Cubs in his career. He not happy again. And a strike call that happened in his last at bat. We mentioned it earlier. Very frustrated guy in general these days. Oh, 2. Eric, this has got to be this is a reputation move, right? You're Mike Matheny, and out of respect, you're just leaving him in.
Well,
right?
What it is you're playing for the next few weeks in the postseason, and you're trying to get him back. You don't want to show any lack of confidence in him. But if you're trying to win this game right now, I'd go to Holliday. I would have gone to Holliday.
In the air. Pham ready to tag. And the throw knocked down by Rizzo. And it's a 1-run ball game. That could be a key play that Rizzo knocked that throw down, because Jason Hayward's thinking, I got to get into scoring position.
Yeah, and that throw was low enough that you're not going to be able to run if you're Hayward, because you can't. The only way you're going to take a big lead or even contemplate going is if that throw is going to sail over Rizzo's head. Even if that thing bounces, still tough to get any kind of running start.
It's Piscotty on the ground. Diving play by Russell. Oh, my goodness, what a play that'll end the ball game. Addison Russell to Javier Baez on one of the better plays you'll ever see to end a game on defense. I thought that was ticketed for center field, and the Cubs hang on 5-4.
Well, the Cubs came out, showed today that they do belong with the Cardinals, that they're playing as well as anybody. Cardinals, they fought to the very end, but this Cubs ball club, even with the adversity today, bullpen, closer thrown out, they come out on top.
Well, not too much doubt, our Bank of America play of the game, the rookie Addison Russell, a game saver. Have a favorite baseball memory? Go to hashtag MLB Memory Bank to share yours. And I think Cub fans will remember this one for a while.
Really an exciting game, just a prelude to the playoffs and a prelude to what could be the best series, a Cubs-Cardinal playoff series.
And the Cubs now a half a game behind the Pittsburgh Pirates for the top wild card spot. And the Pirates do gain a half game on the Cardinals. They've got to face Clayton Kershaw a little bit later tonight. A reminder today, our full day of college football action sponsored by Geico continues on FS1 as UTSA takes on 25th ranked Oklahoma State. Then a clash between Cal and Texas on Fox. In the nightcap, an early season heavyweight showdown. 19th ranked BYU squares off against 10th ranked UCLA back on FS1. Your home for college football, Fox and FS1. What a dramatic finish here at Wrigley Field. Cardinals and Cubs lived up to the billing. For Eric Karros, Ken Rosenthal, and our crew, Len Casper saying, so long from Chicago. You've been watching Fox, exclusive home to the 2015 World Series.
Aaron.